Next on Worcester News tonight, a group of Worcester Public School students calling for the superintendent's contract to not be renewed as other leaders step up to support her. Plus, local Catholics among the many praying for the people of France following the devastating fire at Notre Dame. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. A group of Worcester Public School students want their voices to be heard. They say the district superintendent should not have her contract renewed, but school committee members in support of Maureen Benenda say she has made improvements in the district over the last 3 years. Our Chandler Walsh joins us now with more on today's rally. Chandler.
Olivia, a school committee member who backs Benenda says he's surprised to see students are rallying. The student-led group has a list of actions they want to be taken to improve the district, but say not renewing the superintendent's contract is their main goal. Youth activists call for an end to Maureen Benenda's time as superintendent of the Worcester Public Schools.
Extremely dissatisfied with the superintendent and the school committee as they have failed to address the larger issues of systemic racism.
10 high school students held a press conference outside City Hall, citing emergency removals, dropout rates, and disparities in discipline with Latino students as major issues.
We want that person to represent us and to stand strong for us and make sure our voices are considered through policy making.
They say they are also upset by Benenda's reaction during a presentation they gave weeks ago to the Mayor's Commission on Latino Education Equity.
She was being very disrespectful towards our presentation, murmuring under her breath, like saying that's not true or that can't be right.
Zio Alvarado and Jonathan Mora say the group surveyed students through social media on how they view teacher diversity in the district. They say after the presentation, they were questioned by their principals at the superintendent's request.
If she really cared for what was happening, like as she says she does, she would have came to us directly after the Mayor's Commission our presentation and tried to talk to us about it.
Benenda has agreed the district needs to diversify its staff and address suspensions of Latino students, but she says critics are
allocate funds to support our English learners.
We're just gonna tell the truth and move forward with the work with kids, because this is, some of this is derailed.
School committee member John Monfredo backs Benenda, saying she's only improved the district these last 3 years. He says he hopes the community supports her.
She has a great work ethic, she's compassionate, she knows what she's doing, and most importantly, she's out there for the benefit of all families and children.
The student activists say they want to make a change for future students. They've made a petition which already has more than 100 signatures. Live in Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
A windy but sunny day in the city, and it looks like there is more sunshine on the way. Here's meteorologist Tim Kelly with a first check of our forecast.
Yesterday's storm still moving out. Was still snowing a little bit in Maine and parts of Vermont today. A little bit of a wave on a front, warmer air to our south. This wave with rain or even a few snowflakes in New York and Pennsylvania just missing us. That should leave us with a mostly clear sky and chilly. Outside tonight, I guess the best news is the wind is dying down. That means a few of the lower elevation spots may get into lower 30s. For most of us, it's going down to 35 to 40. That cloud misses us. To the south, 6 o'clock in the morning, 35 to 40. The wind is still from the northwest, then the wind's going to come from the north and northeast. It'll go light and variable. By lunchtime, the sun is shining. It's 55 to 60 tomorrow, cooling at the ocean with an ocean breeze. And then we're going to have a dry night tomorrow night. Thursday, the clouds come in, then it gets wet. It is a pretty wet looking, at least beginning to our Easter weekend forecast. Coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. Now to an update on an investigation we've been following. The Shrewsbury auto shop owner accused of damaging cars as part of a massive insurance scam being arraigned today. Authorities say Adam Haddad would use sledgehammers and mallets to damage cars he was fixing before writing up repair quotes. One of his alleged victims attended the arraignment.
My car is just totaled. He had my car for 2.5 years. It was just something out of a movie. It was just a nightmare, horrible, horrific. And I'm here to make sure, not to make sure, or to see justice.
And authorities say Haddad stole $170,000 from nearly a dozen auto insurance companies and would not fix the vehicles. His alleged scam took place over the course of 4 years. State Attorney General Maura Healey says they even had video showing him damaging the vehicles. A Worcester man charged in a home invasion is ordered held without bail Tuesday. 27-year-old Omar Abu pled not guilty to charges related to a January home invasion in Webster. According to prosecutors, he held up a gun while attempting to collect money. The people who were in the apartment at the time say they struggled with Abu before calling police. He's due in Superior Court at the end of this week for a dangerousness hearing. A massive fire is finally out in France, but portions of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris are destroyed. Its structure dates back hundreds of years, and closer to home, many Catholics in Worcester say it's an image they'll never forget. Our Rosalind Flaherty joins us now with more on the church's meaning. Rosalind.
Olivia, many parishioners who attended Mass earlier today at the Cathedral of St. Paul say they are devastated, and the Worcester Diocese says the iconic landmark in Paris is an important place for everyone. The devastating fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris is leaving local Catholics with heavy hearts.
It was tragedy as far as I'm concerned.
Very sad.
People attending afternoon Mass at the Cathedral of St. Paul in Worcester Tuesday say they are in disbelief and are praying for Paris.
It makes me appreciate this cathedral much more and hoping that nothing tragic like that would ever happen to St. Paul's Cathedral.
Very sad. I really was tears on my eye.
Leonore Padilla planned on visiting the historic landmark next week.
I was so anxious to go and visit.
The tragedy comes during Holy Week, an important time for the Catholic Church.
Palm Sunday services when many thousands of people gathered there. And so many people who go to Paris will go to Notre Dame, people who may not practice the faith very regularly, and yet they will go there during Holy Week.
Ray Delisle is the Chancellor and Director of Communications for the Diocese of Worcester. He visited Notre Dame in the 1970s.
There's so many relics, there's so many pieces of art that just inspire you and inspire your faith.
According to French authorities, much of the roof collapsed, but the walls of the church remain and important artifacts were saved. Delisle says the cathedral and other landmarks across the world shouldn't be taken for granted.
We love them and we cherish them nonetheless. And so for this to happen and see the response worldwide for people coming forward wanted to be able to save it, and the commitment by everyone to say we will rebuild it, I think that's really inspiring.
Now authorities are treating the fire as an accident. France's leader vowed to rebuild the cathedral, which could take several years. Live in Worcester, Rosalind Flaherty, Worcester News Tonight.
Young football players, parents, and coaches are urging lawmakers to reject a proposed ban on children under 14 from playing tackle football. The Massachusetts Youth Football Alliance held a rally at the State House this morning. The proposed bill would ban kids from playing tackle football until they reach the 8th grade. Supporters of the bill say there is a high risk of head trauma in children whose brains are still developing, but former New England Patriots linebacker Andre Tippett says parents should be the ones making these decisions.
I was shocked that somebody would sit around and think about putting a bill like that together. I mean, I think there's so many other things that we need to worry about versus taking the opportunity from a parent to let their child play tackle football.
And a public hearing on the bill has yet to be scheduled. A vacant building on Chandler Street in Worcester could soon have new life. According to the Telegram, this building was sold to developers who plan to convert it into market-rate apartments. The 1890 building was home to a razor company in the 20th century, and it will be turned into 47 apartments. The developer says the building will be converted in a historically sensitive manner. Hunger is an issue across central Massachusetts, and on college campuses, it's no different. A study done at Worcester State University shows 1 in 3 students struggle with food insecurities, and now other students want to help make sure they are getting the resources they need.
One of the things that students will sometimes sacrifice in order to pay for tuition and go to class is food.
Research done at Worcester State University shows about 1/3 of students on college campuses are food insecure.
They're not getting enough access to affordable and nutritious food.
Dr. Adam Saltzman says the school recently opened a food pantry as a way to help combat the issue on their campus.
We are officially now a partner of the Worcester County Food Bank, so we will be getting food from the county food bank as well. And the campus has been really donating so much.
Don't be embarrassed. You need food to eat to get a good grades on, do all the amazing stuff, so feel free to come in.
The campus's hunger outreach team is also working to start a program called the Swipe Bank. The school would partner with its dining services Chartwell to allow unused meal swipes to be donated to students who may need it.
The majority of the students always have money left over. A lot of students say they're not going to get that money back, so why not pay it forward to somebody else since it's not going to be of any benefit to them.
Students can actually help each other by donating a few swipes a semester to a bank, and then any student who needs them can draw on them.
Dr. Saltzman says the goal is for students to not be embarrassed or ashamed to ask for help, especially when it comes to a necessity like food.
College is unaffordable for pretty much everybody right now, and they should think about assistance for food just like they think about financial aid.
And the campus's food pantry is open Tuesday and Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. For a limited time, the trunk of Massachusetts' first governor, John Hancock, will be on display at the Worcester Historical Museum. The Revolutionary leader kept important documents in it during the Battle of Lexington and Concord. Today, students on April vacation got a chance to check it out. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us now with more. Brittany?
Olivia, the trunk was unveiled today for Patriots Week. Along with the almost 250-year-old trunk was a John Hancock impersonator, and he was there to tell the full story of how the trunk made its way to Worcester.
I was on my way to Worcester because I have a house here, and the trunk eventually made its way to that house.
John Hancock's trunk can only be seen once a year at the Worcester Historical Museum.
It's really exciting, and that's why we make a big deal about it during Patriots Day and Patriots Week. It's a real important piece of American history.
I am delighted that this has survived history. This is a wildly important trunk. It contains some of the most important documents, certainly in Massachusetts history at the moment of Revolution, but in the entire country.
The leather trunk contained important documents his fellow patriots didn't want the British to get. After Paul Revere warned John Hancock and Sam Adams the Redcoats were coming, they made their way to Worcester.
Samuel Adams and I needed a safe haven. Well, it turned out my Uncle Thomas had left me property here in Worcester, and we decided this would be a safe place to come. The trunk followed us here, and it never left. And apparently it was still crammed with papers when it was found several hundred years later.
The 1775 trunk was then donated to the Historical Museum in 1895. The piece is only on display once a year because it's fragile. Families visiting Tuesday say it's a great way to spend school vacation week.
I met John Hancock. The real John Hancock was much shorter than him, closer to our size.
Both of them just love history, so it's pretty special.
I was very excited. The girls were excited to meet John Hancock and to be able to see the trunk that had all the names of all the patriots.
This is the second year the museum has had John Hancock meet visitors. Exhibit coordinator Vanessa Bumpus says he's a big hit.
It puts a face with the historical artifact, which is what we're trying to do because living history is exciting.
The trunk will draw hundreds into the museum this week and will be on display through Saturday. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.